What's up guys, my name is Ace, and it's been a little while since I shared my class setups with you, and I've been getting asked quite a bit, what should I use now that we have this new update? A lot of guns got nerfed, some of them got buffed, and I wanted to share a few example classes for you guys of classes that I'm really enjoying using at the moment. Keep in mind, just like with every one of these videos, my classes are always changing, they're always evolving, and I do like to mix things up. So I'm not necessarily saying just copy and paste these and that's the end of it and never use anything else. Always try to mix things up and use what works for you. Also, going off of that point, these are the classes that work for me as well as my playstyle and my preferences. Feel free to mix things up to suit your needs. But first up, let's hop into my Airborne Rushing class. This is using the MP40. If you guys haven't seen my video from a few days ago, the MP40 got a pretty massive buff to its fire rate, and it's now right up there with the PPSH when it comes to standard time to kill within SMG ranges. So it's a very good gun. It's just got a little bit of recoil you have to be able to manage. And with this one, I'm using quick draw as well as extended mags. With that faster fire rate that it got, you do burn through magazines faster, so I love using extended mags on there. And as long as you aren't breaking your sprint by aiming down sight, quick draw is awesome. For our basic training, you'll notice with a bunch of my classes, I'm using Hunker. This is something that I've kind of picked up over the past month or so, and I use it on almost all of my classes because I tend to play objective game modes, and there's so many nades in this game, so it's great to avoid them. My secondary is the Luger, which is quite surprising because normally I've been using the machine pistol. The machine pistol got a pretty big nerf to its 4-shot kill potential, and therefore I've just been messing around with some other things, and I found great success with this as a secondary. So I've been going with P08 lately with extended mags, and that's working out awesome for me. Our lethal is still a sticky grenade. I use the sticky grenade on pretty much every single one of my classes. Moving on to my next class, this is an Infantry Rifle class. Currently, right now, the rifle I'm kind of going back to is the STG. I haven't been using the STG much at all for the past month and a half. I've been mainly using the FG42 and some of the semi-autos, but since that recent update, I'm back onto the STG bandwagon here. This is with quick draw, a reflex sight, as well as extended mags. I also sometimes swap out that reflex for high caliber. It's kind of just whatever I'm feeling at the time. Once again, we've got Hunker on here so I can avoid those nades. Secondary is the same, and the lethal is the sticky grenade as well. One thing I want to mention with the STG, I wasn't quite clear enough with this when I was doing that patch video. The statistical minimum time to kill of the STG is now pretty much right in line with the FG42. It's actually technically slightly faster than the FG42. So before, the STG was kind of like a great accurate gun, but its time to kill just didn't really compete with a lot of the other rifles. Now it's one of the better rifles all around for all of the categories. Moving on to my LMG class. This is with the Lewis. I love the Lewis. This is my favorite LMG. It's one of my favorite guns to use in the game. We've got quick draw, extended mags, and full metal jacket. This allows me to just spray through walls and cover like crazy. Extended mags makes it so I don't have to reload all the time, and I don't have to worry about spraying a few bullets through a wall just to see if I can hit somebody and maybe get a kill. We're using it with infantry division. I always like using my LMGs with infantry. I know I don't get the bipod, but that's fine. I never use the bipod anyways. I really like being able to strafe faster in gunfights, plus an extra attachment on the Lewis is amazing, so I'm always using infantry when I use LMGs. My basic training, once again, is going to be Hunker, especially with this one, because oftentimes I'm kind of a sitting duck, and I'll be sitting in a really popular position where people will often throw nades, so it's great to be able to avoid those with Hunker. Secondary and lethal is, once again, going to be exactly the same as we've seen in the other classes. Moving on to my sniper class, no surprises here. This is the Mountain Division with the Kar 98K with ballistic calibration and extended mags. It's pretty much the best setup to be running. You could sometimes swap the extended mags out for rapid fire or FMJ, but realistically, I just like extended mags because I don't like having to reload very often. And with that, we're also using Lookout. One thing I wanted to point out is sometimes lately I've actually been swapping Lookout for Undercover. This is the counter to Lookout. For those of you guys that didn't know, Lookout is what allows you to see their name tags at basically any range. You see that red name tag above them. Really easy to pick out your targets even if they've got great cover because they'll have a big red name tag above them. With Undercover, it counters that out for the enemy snipers that are running Lookout. So a lot of snipers I've noticed really rely on that Lookout perk. If you pop Undercover on and you have a great counter sniping position, you'll be able to dominate other snipers in matches, especially in the war mode. I'm thinking defending or attacking the bridge on Operation Breakout. There's really common sniper locations, and oftentimes you can head glitch something and you'd be practically invisible, but they can see you because of that Lookout perk. When you're running Undercover, you've got a great counter sniper class ready to go. Also with this one, I am using a smoke grenade as my tactical. That's primarily just for Operation Breakout on the bridge. I like to be able to use this on offense, and I like to help my team as well as myself build that bridge, and smoke grenades are pretty much necessary for this. Finally, we've got my shotgun class. The combat shotgun recently got a buff, even though I don't feel it was the shotgun that should have gotten the buff, but whatever, it got a buff, and this thing is very beastly now, as long as you're able to stay on target with it. With this one, I'm running steady aim as well as rapid fire. Rapid fire just helps a little bit, but sometimes it does make the difference between life and death. Again, I'm not using the recommended division for the class of weapon that I'm using. Normally people would use Expeditionary. I don't like the incendiary shells, so I'm using Airborne, which just allows me to get around the map a lot faster, which is great with shotguns. Our basic training is Gunslinger. This allows me to basically sprint like a headless chicken into a gunfight, and as long as I'm pulling the trigger to come out of sprint, Gunslinger is going to be working out great for me. Same secondary and lethal setup there as well. So there we have it. Those are 5 example classes of the classes that I feel are best for me right now in a wide variety of objective modes. I'd like to know in the comments section below, what are your current go-tos in CoD World War II? Have things changed recently, especially with that most recent update, or are you pretty much using exactly what you were using before? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.